Booger McFarland, good to see you, sir, from Monday Night Football.
Always, man. Thanks for having me, man. This is like an honor for me.
No, stop. Don't say. I mean, I'm thrilled that you're here. Rams Ravens tonight downtown, and that's a big game. But I want to go down a little bit of memory lane first with you.
Yeah.
15th overall pick of the 1999 draft out of LSU. By the way, congratulations on what's going on there.
Joe Burrow should be the Heisman Trophy winner, by the way, just in case y'all don't know that. Joe Burrow, Heisman.
I think that right now it would be quite something. I mean, Chase Young would have to take Shea Patterson down like 9 times himself.
Well, that's possible. That's very possible.
I shouldn't speak anything into existence with that game coming up this weekend. But so you're the 15th overall pick in the 1999 draft. Does Dungy call you, get you on the phone?
Rich McKay calls first.
Rich McKay calls first.
Yes, he was the GM at the time, and then I talked to Coach Dungy. I mean, I was at home in Winsboro, Louisiana. We had like a big party at the house. Like, it wasn't really popular yet for the guys to go to New York, and nor did I really want to go, because I grew up in a small town, about 3,500 people, 3 or 4 stoplights. And so the people that were very important to me in my life, I wanted to celebrate with them. And so we had a huge party. There was more catfish fried and ribs barbecued that day in my town than probably ever before.
Right.
We had a huge 80-inch TV set up in the backyard. And the moment that sticks out to me about that day is my mother was born in 1955. And so she saw a lot of things growing up. And for her to raise a young man that was able to get drafted, and I was actually in her room when the phone rang. And, you know, Rich McKay comes on, and he says, "We want to make you a Buccaneer," and he passed the phone to Coach Dungy. It was like, I was happy, and it was fulfilling for me, but to see the smile on her face and the tears coming down her face, man, just I'll never forget that moment. That moment was more special to me than the 2 championships I won.
Yeah, with Bucks and the Colts as well. But the Bucks, and this is a fun question. I look forward to the answer. You show up.
Yeah.
Okay. And you walk in the locker room, and there's Allstott, there's Dunn. Yeah. You know, there's Derek Brooks. Yeah. But there's one individual in particular that's in your position group. How did Warren Sapp welcome you to the team, Booger?
His first thing was, because I held out my rookie year. The contract wasn't done for 2 days.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so you can imagine how that goes. So I show up, and the first thing he says to me was, now that you're rich, can we please get to work? And I was like, yeah, sure. And
that's what he said to you, huh?
Absolutely. That was one of the first things he said. And so for me, playing in the same position group as him, I got a chance to watch him work every day. And for all the extracurricular things that are said in and around him, he's still the hardest worker I've ever been around.
No kidding.
How he shows up, how he works. Now, sometimes getting him to work is a little different, but when he shows up,
yes,
and I'm only talking in the off season, but when he's at work, he works as diligently and as hard as anybody I've ever been around.
And being in that defense was like what for you?
It taught me so many things that I still use in my life today, because defensive football at its core is 11 guys coming together, and it's really not that hard. Like, defensive football is not like putting together an orchestra, because in an orchestra you got to make sure, man, that every guy's on the right tune in the right time. Defensive football is about 11 individuals doing their job and on the smallest details. Like stopping the run, for instance. Stopping the run is no different than math in school. If they have 7 guys to block, you need 8 guys to kind of counter that so you can make the tackle. But playing for that defense, we were very simple. We only had about 10 defenses, Rich. I still remember them all today. But we were built on doing the little things, the fundamentals, the techniques, and effort. We coached effort, and we taught it, and we used to chart lows, meaning if you were not giving all-out effort on a play, you would be called out. And peer pressure was the number one thing that fueled our defense, because you didn't want to let the other guy down. And Monty Kiffin, Tony Dungy, Rob Marinelli, they believed in a system that was simple, that allowed guys to play fast. And if guys will play fast and give effort, you have a chance to play really good defense. Oh, now, by the way, add Hall of Fame players to that system. Now you can be dominant.
Lynch is a Hall of Famer, right?
He should get in.
No doubt.
Yeah, he's close. He should get in. Ronde Barber should get in, how he revolutionized the nickelback position.
Right.
Simeon Rice is going to be close. I think people have a view of him as a guy that just rushed the passer. That's not true, especially when he got to Tampa, because we forced him to play the run. So if you look at the defense, Sapp's in, Brooks in, I think Lynch should get in. Barber should get in. Simeon Rice on the fringe. I mean, so you could realistically have 5 Hall of Famers off our championship defense.
Well, you got Dungy too.
Yeah,
although part of what got him in as well was winning the championship with him in Indianapolis. What was it like for you to win one with and for Tony? Because clearly the one in Tampa was with Gruden at the helm. What did that mean?
It meant a lot, and I'll tell you the backstory. So the night Tony got fired in Tampa, I'll never forget it. I'm watching the local Bay News 9 in Tampa, and they're filming him as he's walking out of the Bucs facility. He's got one box in his hand. He's walking toward a Jeep Durango, and it's raining. And just that scene, how that scene looked, I was at home watching it. Fast forward, he goes to Indy. They trade for me. I come in. He tells me, just be yourself. And that'll be it. That's all we need. We make a Super Bowl run, only Super Bowl that has ever rained. Super Bowl 41, it's pouring down raining.
Yes, it was.
And so the irony of how he got fired, and for him to win that Super Bowl in the rain, and for me to be with him. Now, also remember when we won a Super Bowl with the Bucs, I didn't play in the game because I had a broken foot, and so having won 2, but having played in the one with Dungy in the rain, the only Super Bowl that has ever rained, we carried him off the field. It's just like, I don't believe in coincidences in life. I believe in things happen for a reason. You know, I think the good Lord upstairs has a sense of humor sometimes. And for the rain when he got fired to be there, and for the rain to be in the Super Bowl, and it was a great story. I've learned more from Tony Dungy as a man than as a football coach, and that's saying something. But, you know, for me to be a part of that team with him was really special.
Booger McFarland here on the Rich Eisen Show. Monday Night Football with you and Joe Tessitore and Lisa Salters and John Parry, who I think is terrific.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah, I know, right?
He is.
And it's just in this day and age, everybody's got to have a rules expert at the ready.
Yeah, because I think the rules have become the center of attention. And regardless of whether the NFL likes it or not, you need somebody to kind of make it really simple, where it's digestible at home and the fans can understand it.
And that's tonight. Rams hosting the Ravens. What a big game. First time you're going to lay eyes on Lamar Jackson this year. Ravens haven't been on Monday Night Football just yet. How do you see this one playing out? What is the key to it, Booger McFarland?
Well, you know, the Ravens are a physical football team.
Oh, boy, are they.
And their identity, they're not arrogant, but they believe in what they do. And they're going to run the football, whether that's with Ingram, whether that's with the quarterback. They're going to make you feel that you're in a football game. Now, sometimes you go out and play teams, and it's like, man, it's basketball on grass. It's screen. No. This team here, they want to take you in a phone booth and take a bat and just hit you upside the head over and over and over. And at some point, you're either going to stand in there and fight back, or you're going to give up. I think that's the type of game we're going to see tonight. Like, they're going to try to line up and say, Hollywood, L.A., Walk of Fame, Microsoft Theater, Staples Center, Hollywood, all that good stuff. Can you step into the ring and get into a fist fight? You know, can you do that?
Well, Aaron Donald, you'd think they're equipped. He's equipped. That's his game, right?
Aaron Donald can play any type of game.
Got it.
He's only one.
Right.
Jalen Ramsey can play any type of game. That's 2. Now, can you get 11 guys to do the same thing? Can you get 11 guys to step into that ring and be in that fist fight? That'll be the key, because I think on the other side of the ball, when the Ravens defense is on the field, they're going to do everything they can to take Todd Gurley away. And this game tonight comes down to, does the Rams defense want to get in a fist fight, and can Jared Goff throw under pressure and under duress?
I would think if you're asking those questions of me, my answer to the first one would be, hell yeah. Rams are going to get in the fist fight.
Okay.
Aaron Donald is ready.
Okay.
We've seen Aaron Donald. You've seen Aaron Donald throw people around. Like, that's he likes throwing people out of the club. Like, that's part of his. Then Club 99, he likes picking people up and throwing them out.
Exactly.
And a bunch of people can follow. And Wade Phillips, I think we're talking. That's, if you want to get into that game, let's go.
I think that's the game we're going to see.
But the offense for the Rams, I'm concerned about that. Can Goff stand in there and be the one to wing it around? What do you think? That's the question.
That's the $1 million question.
If Gurley is in fact removed from the game.
Yes.
Because we did see some flashes of 2018 Gurley, 25 carries against a team last week in the Bears that had to know he was coming downhill at them.
Correct. And I think the Ravens feel like with their 2 interior tackles, with Petco and Williams that they can't do that against them, you know. And so now can Jared Goff, and on the outside, because I think it's going to be good on good tonight. You got Cooks, you got Robert Woods, you got Cooper Kupp. Flip it over on the other side, you got Marlon Humphrey, you got Jimmy Smith.
Right, and you also got Marcus Peters, who's got a chip. He's got that bowl of gumbo.
It's good. It's good on good. And so when you have good on good on both sides, now it comes down to quarterback. And Jared Goff, I mean, he hasn't played well this season. He hasn't. And I think overall that's going to be if he plays well tonight, I think we're going to be in for it. It's not going to be like Rams Chiefs was.
No, I don't think anything is.
No, it's not going to be like that. But the score may be a little higher. But if he doesn't, then LA could be in trouble.
Booger McFarland here on the Rich Eisen Show. I mean, that game that you called the whole. Well, I mean, we were all talking about it, Booger. That. The death of defense. Defense is dead in the NFL because of the way the rules have been made to put the offenses on skis and the defenses on their heels. And yet it seems to me that the script has totally flipped the other way since that night. The Super Bowl being the example of it. That we have seen the way the Patriots have created this defense. It started that night against Goff and the Rams, and we have now seen the entire season playing out where the 49ers are going to come down and hit you and have that defensive line. We see what the Patriots are able to do right now. We're talking about the Ravens. Do you think that the script has flipped in the NFL?
You know what I think has happened? If we go back a year ago, the advent of the RPOs and all the college game came into the NFL, and it became wide open. And so now I think what you've seen is you've had a year for defensive coordinators who don't really like hanging with their families or going to the beach. they spent the entire offseason, they've studied all this film.
Right.
And they've said, okay, so how do we combat that? Defensive coordinators are being more aggressive, a lot more man coverage, a lot more let's dictate to them and not allow them to dictate to us.
So what's the response, do you think, that might be coming here? Because Rod Woodson told me many moons ago, this is how many moons ago it was, Booger McFarland, when the Wildcat was going crazy.
Yeah, it
years ago.
Last.
Okay, I said, right, that's what he said to me.
Yeah.
But I said to him, I'm like, man, everyone's doing Wildcat. The Dolphins were killing it with Wildcat. And he said, like that, give defensive coordinators one off season. Give defensive coordinators one off season, they'll fix anything. Is what he said. So is this the responses to the RPOs that we're seeing and everything right now?
I think the aggressive style and the man coverage is the response to your question, what's next?
Yes.
I think you're going to see it tonight, Lamar Jackson. And you have to find, I think offensive coordinators are going to say, let's find that quarterback. We're already seeing it. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson. Who's going to be next? The college game is going to give the NFL some more guys like that. Could Jalen Hurts be a guy like that? He may not have the twitchiness that Lamar, but dual threat quarterbacks where the quarterback can become a runner, I think is going to be the wave of the next wave of the future, because now it makes you play 11 on 11. Normally what happens when the offense is running a play, whether it's a pass or specifically a run, quarterback hands the ball off and he becomes a spectator. Now what happens if the quarterback is a part of the play? See, defenses are used to playing 11 on 10 because once the quarterback hands it off, he's a spectator, it's 11 on 10. Now, with Lamar tonight, it's 11 on 11.
Same with Deshaun Watson, same with Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott.
And now that's when you're seeing these offenses are becoming more and more unstoppable. Like, look at the top offenses in football. Dallas, dual threat quarterback. He's a passer, but he can run. Lamar, the top rushing team in the league. Kyler Murray, rookie season, but he's been phenomenal. If you look at where even Patrick Mahomes, who is the quintessential pocket passer, still has movement capability.
Sure
we saw
does.
that last Monday night against the Chargers. So the dual threat quarterback is the response, and I think the answer to the man coverage and the aggressive style.
I mean, that was crazy in Mexico City, less than 200 yards passing, but led his team in rushing. That was Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
I mean, and then we haven't even mentioned Russell Wilson. Yeah. I mean, Booger McFarland here, a few more minutes with him on the Rich Eisen Show. That Monday night game, we had Bobby Wagner on the next day, and I'm like, every play ended with a thump, every one of them. It felt like a playoff atmosphere. What in the hell was it like calling that one? That had to be something, watching that one.
You know, when you get games where the game comes down to the end, like we have a saying in our production group, when the game is that good let the game speak for itself.
Yeah, back off, right?
Yeah, back off, let it speak for itself. You know, when the game it's 17, 20 points, then you got to kind of polish it up a little bit and make it, you know. I mean, let's just be honest. That's what you got to do.
Of course,
but,
yeah, right, yeah.
You know, when you get games like we had last week, like we've had like the Seattle game, like we hope to get tonight, you allow the players to just tell the story. All you try to do is just add just a little bit of flavor to it, just a little bit of analysis to the how, to the why, what's coming next, and things of that nature. So I look forward to those games because I think live sports is the greatest reality TV we have in this country.
No doubt.
And football being the number one sport in the United States, we got the greatest reality TV show every Monday night. And I think when you get two teams that are playing against each other on Monday night and the entire country's watching, I think everybody's captivated. And social media is captivated because everybody's got an opinion. You got all these armchair analysts. But for the people at home, we got to remember, this is entertainment. And so there's nothing like sitting at home on the edge of your seat, not knowing what's going to happen when you get high-level athletes competing. And to me, that's the fun part about it. I pinch myself every Tuesday morning, man, that, you know, when you get a chance to call Monday night, but especially when you get a game that goes down to the wire, because I know what it's like to be in that arena. You know, there's an old poem talked about the man in the arena. And if you've never been in there, you don't know what it's like. And we try to bring the fans in the arena. And for me to have been in that arena, it's special, man.
Well, I know during that game you mentioned many times that you thought Russell was the MVP. Then on his bye week, Lamar goes for 4 touches. Who's the MVP through?
I think today, as we enter Thanksgiving week here, I think you got to say it's Lamar. I mean, but all Russell does is win. I think it's development. It's amazing how it changes. It's kind of fluid.
Yeah, I know.
It's very fluid.
I mean, again, Russell, what he did that night.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's no hard and fast rule, but I think the rule is if you're going to play an overtime game with Russell Wilson, don't give him 3 opportunities. I think all teams...
Especially when he gives you the ball with an interception.
Correct, which was so stunning. I mean, that literally got me off my seat when that happened. That said, the way he played that night, for sure. I'm like, unbelievable the way that he ran for the first down to set up the win after making these incredible throws. That throw to Turner, who I'd never heard of before. I'm being very honest, before he caught that pass and pirouetted. So all that said, Lamar is amazing. I mean, and then at some point you do have to talk about Michael Thomas in a way, maybe.
And I mentioned this last Monday night about Michael Thomas
because they're 9-2, man.
Well, and they're 9-2, and he's not only the primary threat. Like every time Sean Payton designs a play, Michael Thomas is 1, 2, and the third receiver in there. Like they're looking at him pretty much every play. But I think if we really want to be honest, tonight will go a long way for Lamar to cementing the award. Because last time we had Russell, remember what Russell did? It wasn't a great statistical game.
Right.
But he made the plays when he needed to make them.
Yep.
So tonight for Lamar, you want to cement the MVP award, you go out and you make the plays. He's going to have the ball in his hand tonight a lot. And here's the thing I marvel about Lamar. Everyone wants to take credit. Well, we knew it was going to happen. We knew this was going to come. Let's go back to the playoff game against the Chargers. 50 minutes of football, he completed 3 passes. And the entire stadium in Baltimore was screaming for Joe Flacco. That's less than a calendar year. That's last January. The entire stadium in Baltimore were screaming for Joe Flacco. Give the kid a lot of credit because the offseason was huge for him, how much better he got, the dedication and work that he put in, and the support that he got. I mean, this is a great staff you have around here, and I'm sure, and they do a tremendous job of making sure you're in position to succeed. That's what the Ravens have done. Bring in Greg Roman. Marty Morningwig, I don't really know. Okay, don't worry about it. Let's bring Greg Roman in. He has experience, Tyrod Taylor, Colin Kaepernick. We know what to do with the mobile quarterback. And so I think you have to look at what Lamar has done from that game against the Chargers to where he is now. Such great improvement. You got to give a lot of credit to himself and the staff around there and how they've built the entire organization around him. And doing that, he's rewarded them, and he's leading the MVP race right now.
Well, then let me finish our conversation with our poll question, which is the top 2 teams in each conference. The team to beat would be which? You got the Patriots, who, by the way, lowered their average touchdowns given up statistic from 0.9 to 0.81 per game. It's crazy. And then you've got the Ravens tonight. Then you've got the Niners, who just boat raced Green Bay coming off its bye week with the Saints in a shootout at home, the most entertaining game of yesterday. Which team is the team to beat?
So if I look on the NFC side, here's what I'll say. I think Kyle Shanahan, if he's not the best play caller and run designer in football, somebody needs to show me another person. They have a style that plays anywhere, anytime, against anyone. They have a defensive line. They got 5 first-round picks. They get after your quarterback, and they make your offense. They made Aaron Rodgers look like he shouldn't even be a Pro Bowler last night because they get pressure will force any quarterback to look like that. So I think on the NFC side, it's the 49ers. I get it. Some people aren't sold on Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not even saying I'm sold on him, but Jimmy has performed and answered all the questions. So you can be kind of lukewarm on Jimmy. That's you. I think the 49ers are the team to beat on the NFC side. On the AFC side, probably surprise people. I'm going to go with the Patriots. And I know they haven't looked great offensively. What are they, 10-1? Mm-hmm. If they stay at that game, whoever they play has got to come to Foxborough. It's going to be cold. It's going to be wet.
Maybe Lamar and John Harbaugh has history of winning there.
He's been there, all right? But let me ask you a question. Yes. This is one of those rhetorical questions.
Yes.
In January, who do you trust, Brady and Belichick or Lamar and Harbaugh? Who do you trust?
I hear you.
And I think that's what you got to come down to. I think winning in the regular season is one thing at home. Can Baltimore, and I'm not saying they can't, I'm just giving you my opinion. I think going to Foxborough when it's going to be 5 degrees in late January, the wind is going to be blowing. We're not going to be able to throw the football. I know you're going to run it. You know you're going to run it. Can you still run it? Can you run your quarterback? Is he going to want to get hit when it's wind chill 0? All those things factor. New England has done that, and something tells me that Belichick wants that matchup. He wants Ravens in Foxborough against Lamar, especially after the way Lamar embarrassed them in Baltimore this year. So I would lean Patriots, AFC, 49ers, NFC.
Yeah, Belichick will be talking all week long if that's the AFC Championship matchup. Yeah, they say we stink. They say, he'll use that.
No, without a doubt.
But you're using your logic, and it's very sound logic. Who would you trust on a championship Sunday in the NFC though? Peyton and Breeze, or Garoppolo and Shanahan?
I would probably lean toward Peyton and Breeze, but man, now I'm getting in my feelings a little bit with this defensive line though, because the 49ers defensive line is so good,
so young too,
and young,
and
they're gonna have to make decisions in the offseason with Armstead and Buckner, and I get it, and D Ford's been they haven't played to their full capability yet because Ford has been hurt with the knee tendonitis, and so. Imagine what happens when they get really going. And Kittle's been hurt. And Saunders has been in and out of they haven't really and think about this. No Jerick McKinnon this year. Quan Alexander's hurt. So the people or the team that they could be, we still haven't seen. And we may not see it this year, but I just love what John Lynch, former teammate of mine, has done out there. I think the world of Kyle Shanahan. I just think they're built the right way, much like the Patriots are built the right way. Patriots are a running football team now. Brady tries to supplement the offense when he can. That's why he's so frustrated, because he's used to throwing 50 touchdown passes and all that, and he's had to mentally go from being the greatest quarterback of all time, which I think he is, to we're not doing those things anymore. And I can't have as big of an impact on the game, and it frustrates great people. It's no different than when Michael got to a point where he couldn't get up and do 360 dunks, where Kobe didn't have the lift. Great players get frustrated, and that's the frustration you see from Tom Brady.
I'm sure also, too, because he thinks or he hears that people interpret it as he's getting older or longer in the tooth, and it might just be the circumstances in the roster. I mean, shoot, he's targeting Jacoby Myers 15 times, and a whole country's watching Week 12 game against the Cowboys. Yeah. Man, I could keep you here for the whole hour.
Oh, I could stay here for the whole hour, man. This is fun, dude.
This is great. Enjoy calling tonight's game.
Looking forward to it.
Again, Ravens at Rams tonight on Monday Night Football, and then Minnesota at Seattle next week. You also have Green Bay at Minnesota to wrap up the season. And by the way, San Francisco's against New Orleans. Not on your air, but that game's coming.
That's going to be great. So we'll get a preview of that. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair because the Saints defense is pretty good also.
At ESPN Booger on Twitter and at SEC Booger on Instagram. LSU Tigers
Absolutely,
are number
baby.
1 overall.
Hot Boudin, baby.
You're in the
Cool,
Monday
cool.
Night Football booth. Life is good for you, sir.
It's good. Thank you, sir.
Booger McFarland here on The Rich Eisen Show. Your phone calls when we come back on The Rich Eisen Show. Do want to quickly tell you about the Happy Honda Days sales event going on. Visit your local Honda dealer for great deals during the Happy Honda Days. The Honda cars embody a fun-to-drive spirit, and these are the cars that are right now at your local Honda dealer under the spotlight. The 2019 Accord, the 2019 Civic Sedan, the 2019 Civic Hatch. Sophisticated, sporty, and aggressive, all respectively, loaded with tech. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto integration, remote engine start, the Honda sensing, keeping you safe on the road, letting you know when you stray out of your lane, or if you need any help, letting you know when to brake. Guess what? There's Honda sensing, and they're standard for all Accord and Civic Sedan hatch models. If there's roomy passenger space, cargo space as well, and if you want to add a little extra kick, the turbocharged engine and paddle shifters, they're available to add more thrill to the performance of these vehicles. So visit your local Honda dealer right now for great deals during the Happy Honda Days sales event. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. We do have a couple phone lines open. We'll clear the banks when we come back.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live, or download the Rich Eisen Show app.